Welcome to this presentation on an overview of the Alaska Developmental Profile, the ADP, which is Alaska's kindergarten entrance assessment. My name is Supanika Ordonez. I have been working at the department for about 6 years now as an education specialist in early learning, and I also work as the ADP program manager. The Alaska Developmental Profile is in both Alaska's statute and regulation as part of a comprehensive system of assessments for students. It is observation-based, meaning that classroom teachers observed the students in their classroom and make ratings based upon that. So this is not a direct test assessment, so the students themselves don't have to do anything. It is administered to all kindergarteners and first graders who did not attend kindergarten, and it is due by November 1st each year. The Alaska Developmental Profile is based on Alaska's early learning guidelines, which details the skills and behaviors that children from birth to all the way to school entry should be able to know and do. The ADP is a whole child assessment, so it looks at 5 different developmental domains, including 13 goals specifically in those domains. The first domain is physical health, well-being, and motor development. The second domain is social and emotional development, and the third being approaches to learning. The fourth domain being cognition and general knowledge, and the fifth domain being communication, language, and literacy. As mentioned before, since the ADP is observation-based, teachers are observing students in the classroom and giving the students ratings of whether they are consistently demonstrating, progressing, or not consistently demonstrating those skills. If a student is consistently demonstrating, they need to be showing that skill or behavior on a consistent basis around 80% of the time or more. So that means if a teacher is observing a student multiple times in the classroom, that student should be demonstrating that skill on 4 out of 5 occasions to be considered that they are consistently demonstrating. If the student has not quite met that threshold, but they are showing that skill a couple times out of those observations, then the teacher can say that the student is progressing. If the student is not showing that indicated behavior, like rarely, then the teacher would rate them as does not demonstrate. The ADP is in statute says that it needs to be based upon background information. And so the guidance to teachers is to get background information from either parents or early learning programs. And so some classrooms do either home visits or classroom interviews with the parents before the child enters the class, or they can also get data from early learning programs. All of our Head Start and pre-elementary grant programs use an observation-based tool called Teaching Strategies Gold, which is aligned to the ADP. The teachers are really encouraged to use existing classroom routines and lesson plans for observation opportunities for those 13 ADP goals, and may also use existing district assessments. So here are some quick ADP results that we've gotten over the past couple years. So in this last fall implementation, there were 88,897 profiles total that were submitted from across the state. These came from every single district except for Mount Edgecombe, which did not have any preschoolers. There were a total of 704 teachers who submitted profiles, and the majority of those profiles were students in kindergarten. And as you can see, we've got statewide data going all the way back to the 2010, which was the first implementation of the ADP. And the trend has been pretty clear that it's been around like 30% of students who consistently demonstrate on at least 11 of those 13 goals, which is 80% of those goals, whereas about almost 70% are not consistently demonstrating on at least 11 of those 13 goals. And so the majority of the children who enter kindergarten are not displaying those kindergarten ready skills. This year, we added some ADP resources to our ADP page, including some family resources. First and foremost is the ADP Family Guide, which just describes what the ADP is in family-friendly language and lays out kind of what each of the 13 goals are and what are some skills and characteristics that children might do to demonstrate that they are consistently demonstrating those skills. There's also a link to the Alaska Early Learning Guidelines, which I mentioned before is a comprehensive guide from birth all the way up to school entry. And it breaks down all of the goals of the Early Learning Guidelines, which the 13 ADP goals are based upon. In addition to the Early Learning Guidelines, we also have our Early Learning Activity Guides, which are specifically made for parents. And these look at each of the specific 13 goals of the ADP, and then what does it look like in the kindergarten classroom, and then what are things that parents or caregivers can do in the home to ensure that kids get lots of chances to practice these skills before school entry. Well, that's the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed this overview of the Alaska Developmental Profile.